This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 277.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash. 404 error. Page not found. Links aren't working. System is crashing. System is crashing. System is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, a couple upcoming events. WordCamp Europe is next week, June 21st, 22nd. I think it's actually maybe, is it 3 days or 2 days? Let me double check out. 20th to 22nd. So 20, 21, 22. I was wrong there. So the 20th. It's in Berlin this year, and I am not sure if I'm going to go or not because I can travel last minute and I have some flexibility. I might go, I might not go. It's going to be a surprise. My buddy Kyle will be there, but by the time he hears this episode, he won't listen to it like when it comes out. He's always like weeks behind. Anyway, so we'll see. I might be there, I might not be there. Don't know just yet. And there's also the issue of us adopting a dog. So it's hard to do all these things at once. We'll see. Anyway, if you are at WordCamp Europe and I meet you and I'm there, great. If I didn't get there, I'm sorry, maybe next year. We'll see. I don't know. Also in the news, I had some inquiries recently about my course I used to teach, WordPress Essentials Course. So if you're interested, I haven't done one all year. Been busy with some other things. Of course, I'm going to add Gutenberg to the next iteration of it, or I would. If you're interested, head over to WPE. So it's initials WPE.KitchensinkWP.com. It's WordPress Essentials, but WPE, KitchensinkWP.com. There's a dot between all those. I'll put a link in the show notes. If you're interested, go over there and sign up to be alerted to when I would do that again. Get enough interest, and I will crank that out, and we'll do another session of that. Had a lot of fun doing that a few times last year, and many in the past years as well. So there's that. All right, segment one in the news. WP Engine has announced and released a new platform. It is DevKit, WP Engine DevKit, and it helps developers roll things out better from production, staging environments. It's pretty darn cool. So check that out. Link in the show notes as well. And WordPress 5.2.2 release date has been changed. It was originally scheduled for June 13th, but the new release got pushed back, and we are now looking for it to be June 18th, which is a day after this episode comes out and right before WordCamp Europe. So there's that. Anything else in the news? I don't think there is. I think that's it for right now. All right. Moving on now to segment two, the meat and potatoes of the show. 6 months down, how's it going is the topic here. So as of this recording, there have been 166 days since the 1st of January 2019. And there have been 119 working business days since the same date, January 1st, 2019. Now, I'm not trying to scare you or depress us as a whole, as an entity. Just want to point out some facts. And those facts are just that we are about halfway done with the year already, which is crazy, right? I mean, it is just insane how fast the year is blowing by. So how are we doing? I'm going to ask you that. Well, here are a few things that came to mind to me during a walk recently about my own check-ins, and I like to share these as well. And perhaps something you might want to review as a business owner, a freelancer, or even if you work for the man. Okay, so a couple of things here. Accounting. Okay, are you up to date for the first 5 months? So sadly, I am not. I'm honest. If nothing else, I am a few months behind myself. I had intention on keeping it month to month. I have fallen about 3.5 months behind. I do have it planned to be caught up by the end of this month. That's right. In the next 2 weeks, I will have the first 6 months of my business accounting up to date. That is my main goal. Go ahead and call me out on it. Check in with me. I dare you. I would love to hear from you. And I have 2 weeks to get it done. So I don't want it to go again another month after month, not knowing my income, my expenses. I need to know the better P&L statements, etc. Okay. How are you doing in yours? Do you want me to help you? Let me know. Projections. How did you do for the first 6 months? Did you have them figured out? Do you have the next 6 months figured out for projections? I love myself a good spreadsheet, as many of my friends know. And I did okay for the first 6 months. I made some conscious decisions to say no to some client work. Certain projects didn't pan out on purpose. Well, not on purpose, but with intention. It wasn't the right fit. I turned down a chunk of work, actually. So I do have projections for the next 6 months, and those are more about my passion project, over at backupspeaker.com versus Concierge WP. I'm still pursuing both sides of the work, but I have projections laid out for the new piece because the concierge is still on track to do what I'm doing with it, and that's fine. So the growth is just dandy where that is. Speaking of passion projects, I asked a few people, what's the one thing they wish they had done in the first 6 months regarding that? And Erica replied with, she wished she held firm to profit first, giving 10% to herself. She started with that, but then she let it slip, and that's unfortunate. So the profit first mentality is take a percentage that you want to set aside for everything that comes in and pay yourself first. Put it in savings, put it somewhere. Assign your money a task, a job, and savings being number one, okay, for many people. She wishes she hadn't let it slip, but it has, and she's working to get back on track. Alex, my developer, replied with, he wishes he started his personal passion project in any line of code, just taking the time and starting the coding process from the get-go, and he hasn't done that in 6 months, and he's bummed, and I'm going to hold him accountable. So Alex, get on it. Okay, there you go. Okay, so back to the calendar angle here. So though my kids have just finished school a week ago, in about 75 days, they go back to school already. And so that got me thinking about the calendar in the future, what's coming up, things that we can do as solopreneurs, as business owners, if you have an e-commerce type of store. For example, back to school. 75 days till back to school, back to college. It's crazy to think that because they just got out. I know, it is kind of nuts. My daughter actually has less time. College starts for her in like 60 days. So she goes back middle of August. She just graduated 2 days prior to this recording, which is awesome for her. Congratulations to my daughter. But she goes back in 60 days, which is not happy, making her very, very, very happy. So then around the corner of the holidays, you have Halloween in 136 days, Black Friday in 166 days, Cyber Monday in 163, Christmas in 192 days. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to incentivize you to take the time right now to start planning out some of these things so you're not struggling or scrambling to have programs and things in place for those days. Because we know that in our space, a lot of times those deals, those holidays equate sales and deals. So lastly, what about vacations? Take the break that we all need versus burning out. As a matter of fact, I heard a stat recently on a podcast this past week that indicated for every decade of work you've done, you need a 1 week per year vacation. So if you've been working in the workforce for 20 years, you should get 2 weeks minimum, 30 years, 3 years, so etc. And that's great. The reality is I'm only up to 2 to 3 days this year so far, and I need to do more work on that. And I've mentioned that as well. The burnout episode about a month ago, not ideal. I'm still working through it, and I have on my calendar some more time off coming up. So there you have it. Some statistics to share for 6 months in of the year. I hope I inspired you to take initiative. There's time still to make changes, move forward, and have a great plan. Okay? So if you want to share what you're doing for the next 6 months, by all means, let me know. It'd be awesome to hear from you. Okay, moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tool is a website called UnmaskParasites.com. I don't know, it's a weird name, yes, but it is a website you can check your site security, kind of like a malware security type of place. Just another resource that I found online that lets you know if your site has been hacked or infected with a parasite, if you will. Check it out over at UnmaskParasites.com. I have no connection to them. It's free, kind of a cool little site. And there you go. Okay, so that is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. If you want to sponsor, you can do that too, for them on the website. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. See you next week. Bye-bye.